Hello and welcome to The Wave from Ocean Reef, a podcast about the flow of life today and how you and I might ride with or swim against it. I'm Dan Meyer, Chaplain-in-Residence at the beautiful Ocean Reef community in Key Largo, Florida, and here's The Wave for today. The story is told of an elderly Scottish couple who boarded a plane for the first time in their life, intending to visit their grandchildren in New York. About halfway across the Atlantic, the captain's voice came over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that one of our 3 engines has gone out. There's no need for alarm, however. Our plane is entirely airworthy on our 2 remaining engines, but I'm afraid this does mean that we'll be about an hour late in reaching New York. 30 minutes later, the captain's voice returned. This time with that tone of forced calm reserved by senior leaders for conditions of extreme emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I regret that we have lost the second of our 3 engines. Nonetheless, I want to assure you that we have every expectation of making a normal and safe landing in New York. We shall, however, now be 3 hours late in arriving. At this, the elderly man turned to his wife and said with a trace of irritation, "Grandma, if that 3rd engine goes, I'm afraid we should be up here all night." It's really easy to forget, isn't it, that there are certain irreducible minimums in life, certain basic conditions that must be present if life is to be sustained in the manner we would like. Most of us readily see that a plane won't stay up in the air for very long if all of its engines go out. But we are perhaps less prone to reflect on the fact that the altitude of our marriages or our communities, and indeed of our whole society, also depends on attention to some irreducible minimums. On September the 17th, 1787, the final day of the Constitutional Convention, which helped our nation get airborne, Benjamin Franklin was approached by a well-known social influencer as he emerged from Philadelphia's Independence Hall. According to the journal of someone who was there, Elizabeth Willings Powell asked the good doctor, "Well, Dr. Franklin, what have we got? A republic or a monarchy?" Franklin famously replied, "A republic, madam, if you can keep it." As we approach the 250th anniversary of the American Republic, we would do well, I think, to reflect carefully on that statement, on the present altitude and attitude of our country, and upon the irreducible minimums required to preserve or improve it. There are many points of view on this subject, of course, but if you want to think further about it, I hope you will engage the conversation with me in the days to come as we reflect throughout this important year on the major values that support our nation's life. Recently, we had an opportunity at the chapel to host a guest speaker by the name of Eric Metaxas. Metaxas is the #1 New York Times best-selling author of Bonhoeffer, as well as 5 other bestsellers, including If You Can Keep It, Martin Luther, Miracles, and 7 Men. Metaxas's work has been translated into over 25 languages and has appeared in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the New Yorker, the Atlantic, the New Republic, USA Today, and many other publications. Metaxas is currently at work on a major book about the American Revolution that is due out in May of this year. What do you personally consider to be the engines that are essential to the health of our nation? How do you feel they are operating these days? What can you and I do to be a constructive influence among the often divided and disputing passengers of this remarkable plane? These are the kinds of conversations that are most important in our times and for which we ought to fasten our seatbelts. That's today's wave from Ocean Reef. If you know of others who might appreciate this sort of content, I hope you'll pass it along or encourage them to find me on Spotify, Apple, or other podcast outlets. Until next time, I'm Dan Meyer, hoping that the flow of life is good for you.